Hey everyone, welcome to Selling with HubSpot. We're here with Stefano. How do you say your name in English? Stefano?
Stefano.
Yeah.
I guess Stefano a lot.
Stefano, yeah. It's so confusing when you switch from Spanish to English.
It definitely is.
I always get Luis. So
There you go. There you go.
No, yeah, it happens. So Stefano, and I always forget exactly what your role is because we've known each other for, I don't know, like 8 years.
Long time.
Something like that, yeah. I've been working with HubSpot for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I think we met, you were definitely not in your role.
Yep.
And you've grown a lot.
Yep.
Could you tell us a bit about what it is that you do today?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I started, actually, almost 8 years ago, I was shadowing one of my colleagues, Karina, and she was working with you guys. So it's great. Full circle, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. We've both grown a lot.
Yes, yes. So I work with our solution partners in LatAm as well as Brazil. So my role specifically, I focus on two roles. I focus on our channel account managers, so our CAMs, and I also focus on our partner specialists. So I've been at HubSpot for 8 years. I started at HubSpot when I was a BDR. So I started from the ground down all the way up. I'd had many roles, but always focused on the partner ecosystem. So I was a CAM, then I was a hybrid CAM, then I was a partner specialist, and then I became a manager probably a year and a couple months ago. But that's what I do. And then our channel account managers, so every partner of ours, they have a channel account manager. They're more focused on the selling, on the coaching, working with our partners to generate more opportunity for HubSpot and for themselves. And then partner also has someone called a channel consultant, so they focus more on that services, delivery, operations, as well as retention. And then we have a partner specialist, so she focuses on acquiring new partners that want to be involved in our partner ecosystem.
Super. So for someone who's new to the HubSpot ecosystem, who might not fully understand, a CAM is something like the sales advisor for a partner.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super. So you're very involved in sales.
Yep.
You've had a lot of experience yourself in sales.
Yep.
And you're in a lot of contact with people who are on the ground doing sales.
Yep.
So what would be like your number one recommendation to someone who's starting to sell HubSpot? What would you say that they should really look into doing?
Yeah, for me, every new rep, just focus on product. I recommend the new reps. There's always going to be ways in which new reps focus on selling and sales processes. Obviously, that's very, very important. But if you don't know what you're selling, how can you sell it? Right?
Absolutely.
So I tell the new reps, try to focus so much on getting into the platform, understanding what our product is, what it is, what it isn't, what's the good, what's the bad, what's the ugly. We have 5 different modules at HubSpot where we have the marketing hub, the sales hub, the service hub, the CMS hub, the operations hub, and then we just launched another one called the commerce hub. And when I started, we only had the marketing hub. So,
it was so easier. It was so much easier back then.
So much easier back then. Yeah. So there's a lot. Obviously, sometimes new reps kind of feel like they're drinking out of a fire hose. But if you can focus and really get in understanding what that product is, then you're able to sell it.
And how would you recommend that they go about actually understanding what that product is? Because it's super important to know about your customer, know what their needs are, but you also absolutely need to understand what you're selling, because otherwise you might come into that situation where they say, I really need this, and you don't know if that's something you can do for them. So how would they go about actually learning about HubSpot, learning about what HubSpot can do for their leads, for their potential customers? Because it can be like, drinking out of a fire hose.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a lot of content out there, right? And one of the recommendations is every new employee has their own portal, their own personal portal, right? So that would be the first place I would start. Going right into that portal, understanding all the products, clicking in, however you learn, if you're clicking in, if you're using, testing, that's the main thing I would focus on. And then there's other things outside of that. So we have our whole academy, right? We have certifications, we have courses, we have all these knowledge-based articles as well. So you can start using those within your own portal. And then kind of look outside of that and understand who is good on your team that does great demos, that understands the product, that's more of a technical person. There's a bunch of very, very smart people here at HubSpot. That's why I love HubSpot. That's why I've been at HubSpot for a very, very long time. I learn something new every single day. So I would kind of look into your team, figure out who your team lead is, who your buddy is, and see how they go about demos. We also we use something called Gong here in HubSpot. So there's basically recording of many calls from many different people. So you can go in there and just go into certain libraries and hear different calls from different people, because everyone has a different style and the way they go about it. And then collaboration amongst other people, that kind of your surround sound of who they help you with, right? So more of our technical counterparts, like our solution engineers, our solution architects, who they know the product inside and out. And if you can have those conversations with them, you'll be successful in the role.
Because sometimes it's also important to have that humility and say, I actually don't have the answer for this.
Yep.
Like, you've asked me a tough question.
Yep.
I don't know if we can do this. And you can bring in your experts, your technical experts, who are going to give you a hand and they're going to analyze the situation, right?
For sure.
And this teamwork that we're talking about, I think, it probably resonates a lot with you, because you love volleyball.
I love
right?
volleyball.
Yeah.
I do.
So I know very little about volleyball. I don't really know how it works. I know, like, you're throwing the ball. Yeah. That's pretty much the extent. I've played it on the beach, but that's it.
Yep.
Now, what kind of parallels can you draw between volleyball and selling?
Yeah.
Can you give us like a quick rundown of how volleyball works?
Yeah, for sure. So volleyball is a very collaborative sport. That's why I love it very much. I play twice a week. It's 3-hour sessions every week, so it's very extensive. And why I like that specific sport, for example, it's a very team sport. There's obviously individual sports out there, but what volleyball is there's different roles, and everyone has a strength, everyone has a weakness, right? You have your strikers, the people that are going to be spiking the ball. You have your setters, the people who are going to be setting up people to spike the ball. You have your liberos, so those people are better at passing the ball, for example. So when it comes to volleyball, it goes a bump, set, and a spike.
Yeah, I would love to be the spike, but I don't think I can. I'm too short for that. Yeah.
And then you also have people that I play a position called the middle. So we're actually blocking and being more of a defense for our team. So as you can see, there's multiple people doing multiple things, multiple roles, and I think there's a parallel between you as a sales rep. I think a lot of the time either you don't like to ask for help, right? And you kind of are just focusing on yourself, you're in the number, and if you're able to collaborate, if you're able to understand what someone's doing well, what's your weakness, and how they can start complementing, I think that's also really important, because collaboration and teamwork is how you're able to, as a team, grow better.
I love it. And now, so somebody's having this sales, like they're having a sales process, they're going through it, and they're able to recognize that they need a hand. How do they go about finding the right person to give them a hand? How do you get to know, like, your whole team, what each person's strengths and weaknesses are, and when's a good time to draw them into this sale?
Communication. Right, I think that's also a big thing about volleyball. You need to communicate. Mine, right? If maybe there's a ball right between me and this other person, are we calling that ball? So for me, communication is really important. You'll have many different people that want to help you to be successful, want to give you the tools to be successful. So you have your team lead, you have your buddy system, you have your manager, and you have your surround sound team, right? That will help you get to your quota. So you have our contracts team, our renewals team, you have the marketing team that are going to help you bring you leads and demand. You have, as well as our technical team, so our solution engineers, our solution architects, and you have partners, right? You have partners in the ecosystem that are so willing to help when things are maybe a little more technical, or a little bit more customizable, or more advanced. So you can use all these different types of resources and really understand how can you start progressing your deals and get to your quota faster.
Love it. And now, it can be a bit overwhelming, because there's also a lot of people that you can draw help from. So if you're new to this and you don't know where to go, like, you don't know who to ask for help, how would you go about that? Like, what would you recommend would be the first person to ask for help?
Manager. Your manager, for sure. Your manager will help understand who maybe that manager can help you in that moment. Hopefully not. We have a baby crying in the background, but we're going to continue with the show.
Yeah, we're in the middle of inbound. It's a conference. Like, things are bound to happen.
Exactly. So I would speak to the manager, and then the manager usually is the person that can help you delegate who the best person would be. because then the manager understands and talks to a bunch of other reps on your team, and hey, this person is great when it comes to selling operations hub. This person is great when it comes to selling the sales hub or whatever. So that manager will be your best point of contact to then understand who the best point of contact would be after that.
Love it. Yeah, that's absolutely crucial. I think. I mean, knowing that you have someone that you can rely on for that extra help. Yeah, that's super important. Now, Stefano, one last question. Like, any common mistakes that you see?
Sorry, it's the baby.
No, go ahead. Very cool. No, yeah. It happens. Yeah. So yeah. Like any common mistakes that you see, or a common problem, something to draw on. I know we were talking about qualifying. So like. Qualifying can be something that you sometimes forget to do, or you get too enthused with a prospect, and you're like, no, man, I don't want to let go. How can you determine if like this is the right fit?
Yeah, so in HubSpot, we focus on two things. If there's a concept of a lead, and if there's a considered buying process, right? I think a lot of new sales reps, you're going to get a lot of people that are going to want to talk to you, right? That's good and that's bad. And over the years, our brand...
The baby's getting to me now.
Over the years, HubSpot's brand has gotten more and more popular. So you're going to get a lot of people that are going to want to talk to you. And I think one thing that new reps have to understand is disqualifying is okay, right? And I know it's weird. And I know it's strange because you're a sales rep and you want to sell and you want to get to your quota and you want to get to your number. But I also see a lot of newer reps focusing on those prospects that are never going to buy. So disqualifying is good, should be done quickly within the process. What you don't want is to have 4 conversations, 4 hours, and then understand that the person's never going to buy. And I've been in HubSpot for 8 years, and I can tell you, I've disqualified, and it took me a while to kind of understand what that motion looks like. But I was able to disqualify, and then I've had people come back to me after a couple of years and been like, hey, I did the certification, I did this, I did that, it worked, I want to buy now. So disqualifying for me is probably the biggest thing I would have new reps do, understand when, and do quickly.
Because it's super important. Because I mean, if you don't do it, you're basically wasting time. Like, I mean, all of your time, it has an opportunity cost. If you're spending time with a client that's never going to buy, you're not calling those clients that might buy. So absolutely, I love that insight. So yeah, awesome. Thanks, Stefano.
Of course.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Stefano, for being with us.
But
I mean.